You can want more and be at peace with where you are today. Somewhere along the way, we were sold a lie that if you're truly content, you must not want enough. You're not dreaming big enough. And if you're truly ambitious, you must not have found peace. So today we're going to dismantle that false choice entirely. Because what if being at peace with where you are doesn't actually slow your growth, it actually accelerates it? Stay with me here because this one will shift how you see everything. Here's the tension that I'm hearing from high achieving women all the time, and that I personally have experienced as well. I don't want to get too comfortable, Martine. I'm afraid that I'll stop pushing. But what if that fear is exactly what's keeping you burnt out? Contentment really has been misunderstood. It's been called lazy, it's been called settling, having lack of vision, again, not dreaming big enough. But I want to offer you a completely different definition today, and one that will make you a more powerful, more sustainable version of the woman that you're already becoming. She's driven, she's focused, she's got goals that light her up, and she's also deeply at peace with who she is and where she is right now. That is not a contradiction, friends. That's alignment. And that is exactly what we're building today. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast, where you will learn simple solutions to win at work without losing at home. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I am your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business by elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl, to procrastinating on your goals and living in overwhelm. And it's time to say hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits so that you can achieve work-life harmony. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast. Let's do this. So welcome back to the show. I am Martine Williams. I'm your life alignment coach, your CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. I'm a speaker also, and your partner in building success that's sustainable. That's why you're here. You want sustainable success, you want meaningful success, and you want to actually feel good from the inside out. So today's episode is one that I think is really important for us to talk about, and it sits at the heart of everything that I teach and everything that I have lived. We're talking about contentment and ambition. And right now, as you're hearing those two words, I know that thoughts are coming up for you. Beliefs are coming up for you. Maybe you're feeling something actually in your body when you hear the word contentment or ambition. And specifically, I want to talk about the false idea that you have to choose between them. You have to choose between them. Because here's what I know about the women in this community, the one right now that's listening. You are driven. You have vision. You're building something real. And you also want peace. You also want profit. You want to enjoy your life. You want to stop feeling like you're always behind, always chasing, always one step away from being enough. If I just get here, then I can rest. Then I can be proud. The good news, you don't have to choose because you were made for both contentment and ambition. And by the end of this episode, you're going to have a new framework for holding contentment and ambition at the same time, and practical tools to start living in that and starting today. So let's start by naming the story that most of us have been living inside, whether we realize it or not. Maybe this will be something that you're just kind of realizing today. It goes something like this. If you're content, you're comfortable. And comfortable means you've stopped growing. And stopping growth means you're falling behind. So contentment, real contentment, is a risk that you can't afford, right? Does that sound familiar? On the other side of the coin, there's this. If you're ambitious, like really, really ambitious, then you should always be a little hungry, a little unsatisfied, because that hunger is what drives you. That probably also sounds familiar. So we end up living in this exhausting middle ground where we're too driven to rest and we're too burned out to enjoy the drive. And this is something that I've lived. It's that tension between those two that I have lived in. And I still have to keep this in check myself. The woman who hits the goal and feels guilty maybe for slowing down even for one day, or I wouldn't even say that I feel guilty. I think it is just this fear that if I stop, then everything is going to fall apart, right? I'm not going to get to that next level. It's the woman who's afraid if she gets too peaceful, she's going to lose her edge. The woman who measures her worth in her output and calls it ambition. That's not ambition, friends. That is fear wearing ambition's clothes. And hustle culture has been very good at making that fear look like a virtue. Like we've been told that rest is laziness, that contentment is settling, that if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. And maybe I've said some of these things on the podcast. And I mean, growth is uncomfortable. But what we're talking about today is, and the problem with living entirely in that narrative is that it has no finish line. And we talked about this in a previous episode, but there's no version of that story where you finally do enough to feel at peace. Because peace, again, was never part of the plan, only the achievement was. We talked about that. I can't remember the name of the episode, but we talked about that. This in the celebration episode where like peace and contentment was never part of the plan, just always achieving, always achieving. Like I'm never going to be able to celebrate. It's never enough. And the cost, we all know it well, is burnout, disconnection, the nagging sense that even when things are going well, something still feels off. And it's the inability to enjoy what you've built because you're already mentally on to the next thing. That's not success. That's not the life you're working this hard to build. It's not what you want, but it's where you end up being. So let's rewrite the story today, friends. Let's start with a new definition of contentment. So I want to spend some real time here because I think contentment is a word that is misunderstood in the personal growth space. I mean, you see it all over social media. You see it probably in programs that you've been in. And let's be clear about what it's not. Contentment is not settling. It's not lowering your standards. It's not becoming passive, giving up on your dreams or deciding that good enough is good enough when you know that you're called to more. That's not contentment. That's resignation. And those are very different things. Here's what contentment is. Contentment is a settled sense of self that is not dependent on your next achievement. I want you to hear that again. It's a settled sense of self that is not dependent on your next achievement. It means you know who you are, your value, your worth, your identity, and that knowing doesn't waver based on whether the launch worked, whether the client said yes, whether the numbers are where you want them to be. It means you can be fully in the middle of the journey and still feel whole. Not finished, not arrived, because we never arrived, but you can still feel whole and content. And I want to make a distinction here because I think it's really important that there are two kinds of contentment, and most of us are only familiar with one of them. The first is circumstantial contentment. This is, I'm happy because things are going well, the business is growing, the family is good, the bank account looks right. This feels like contentment, but it's actually just comfort. And the problem with circumstantial contentment is that it disappears the moment circumstances shift. And circumstances always shift, and you can't always control the circumstance, but you can control the story around the circumstance. You can control the contentment in the circumstance. And this is the second one, which is rooted contentment. This means I'm at peace because I know who I am, whose I am, and what I'm called to do. This is the kind of contentment that doesn't depend on outcomes. It's an anchor, not a reward. Rooted contentment is what allows you to weather the hard seasons without losing yourself. It's what allows you to pursue big goals without your identity being on the line with every outcome. If things are going well, I'm a great entrepreneur. If things are not going well, I'm a terrible entrepreneur. If things are going well at home, I'm a great mom. If things are not going well, I'm a terrible mom. That's circumstantial contentment. That's not rooted contentment. And for those of you that are faith-filled, and many of you in this community are, this resonates deeply with the posture of gratitude and trust that Scripture calls us to. The idea that we can be at peace in the journey, not just at the end of it, when things are where we want them to be. That our security comes from something far more stable than our results. That is contentment. And it doesn't make you less ambitious, friends. It makes your ambition far more powerful. When I am in a place of rooted contentment, of this is where I am, and I'm thankful for where I am, while I'm also growing to the next level and not having any resentment or entitlement or the shoulds that show up in circumstantial contentment. Like that is the name of the game. And it makes my ambition far more powerful. My coach said recently on a coaching call that I shouldn't be there because I'm not. And I was like, huh, which gives you so much peace. Like, I shouldn't be wherever you're saying you should be because you're not yet. But this is where you are right now. And can you be empowered with that? And maybe look back and see how far you've come. And to find contentment and gratitude and find your power where you are right now. Hey friend, let's talk. It's time to book your clarity call. We are going to spend 1 full hour focused on you. A clarity call isn't about pressure. It's about possibilities. It's about you. You having a space to talk through what's on your heart and mind, you walking away with a clear vision and practical next steps, and you feeling confident in what's next and how to get there. You don't need to have it all figured out. That's my job. All you need to do is show up and we'll figure it out together. This is the best hour you can invest in yourself right now. Not in 6 months from now, not next month, right now. And don't just take my word for it. Here's what one of my coaching clients had to say after working together.
Working with Martine has been one of the greatest gifts I've ever given myself. She didn't just coach me, she helped me redefine myself. From the very beginning, she created a space where I felt safe, seen, and supported. With her guidance, I uncovered buried parts of myself, set boundaries I never thought possible, and let go of the constant hustle that had defined my pace for far too long. She reminded me that the grass really is greener when you step away from the pressure and you start living the life you were truly meant to live. Because of Martine, I now stand a little taller, I celebrate my wins, big and small, and I've learned to slow down enough to find joy in the everyday moments. That shift is priceless.
That transformation, it starts with one conversation. It's time to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress. So head right now to martinewilliams.com or in the show notes and grab your private clarity call spot on my calendar before they're gone. And since I personally monitor my inbox, if you don't see a time slot that fits your calendar, just send me an email at martinewilliams.com with 3 times that do work, and I will make it work for you. All right, friend, let's get back to the show. So let's redefine also ambition, because I love ambition. I'm an ambitious woman. I believe fully that ambition is a gift. It's not a character flaw. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be something that takes over as well. Just like contentment, though, it's not created equal. All ambition is not created equal. There's stressed ambition, or you've heard me say stressed success, and then there's aligned ambition. And the difference between the two is everything. Stressed ambition is driven from lack and scarcity and fear and comparison and needing to prove something to yourself, to the people who doubted you, to the version of you that once felt small. Stressed ambition is always chasing and never arriving. It keeps you moving, but it does not keep you fulfilled. Aligned ambition is driven by purpose, by calling, by contribution, by the genuine belief that what you're building matters, the genuine belief that you are highly capable, genuine belief that you will get there, Not because it will finally make you enough, but because you already are enough right here, right now. And this is what you're here to do. So here's the question that I want you to sit with, and I really want you to think about this. Am I chasing this because I believe I'm not enough yet, or because I genuinely believe this is what I'm called to build? That one question can shift everything because the energy you build from matters just as much as what you're building. It's actually everything. The energy, how you show up. If you're showing up from lack, if you're showing up from scarcity and fear or trying to prove, it's very different than genuinely believing that this is what you're called to build. This is you have enough, you have what you need right now to grow and to build what you want to build. Ambition without contentment is burnout with a vision board. Both need to be with you, ambition and contentment. Because you can have all the goals, all the plans, all the beautiful strategy. And if it's being driven by an inner emptiness that achievement is supposed to fill, you will keep running and never feel like you've arrived. Ask me how I know. Because the arrival you're looking for isn't at the end of the goal, friends. It's inside of you. But ambition that is rooted in contentment, that's sustainable. That's energized. That's the kind of momentum that doesn't wear you out. It builds you up. When your ambition is rooted in contentment, they both can coexist. We don't need to separate the two. We can hold both at the same time. So you may be asking, how do I do that? How do I live in the and? And we've talked about the and in several other podcasts, but let me give you the and framework because I believe the power of language to shift identity, and this is the language worth practicing. So I am grateful and I'm growing. I am at peace and I'm pursuing. I am deeply rooted and I'm beautifully in motion and still becoming. I love where I am and I'm excited about where I'm going. Like that's a thought, that's a belief, that's an identity that I truly hold on to. Like I love where I am right now and I'm excited about where I'm going. I can't be thinking that where I'm at right now is not enough or like I have so far to go or like none of that is helpful for you to be thinking about from an identity perspective, from a belief perspective. So we need to be purposeful in adding in the and here. I want you to notice what that feels like when you're saying, I'm grateful and I'm growing, I'm at peace and I'm pursuing, I'm deeply rooted and I'm beautifully in motion. I love where I am and I'm excited about where I'm going. Notice what that feels like. Just hearing me say those things. There's no tension in those statements. There's no contradiction. There's no either or. I got to either be grateful or growing. It's just two truths living together, which is exactly what aligned success looks like. Now, let me show you what it looks like when you're off balance, because knowing the signs matters. Signs that you've tipped maybe too far into stressed ambition sounds like you can't enjoy a win because you're already on to the next one. You're already on to the next goal. You feel vaguely anxious even when things are going well. Your self-worth fluctuates based on your productivity. Rest feels like a threat, not a gift. Maybe you're comparing your progress to everyone else's timeline. That's signs that you've tipped too far into stressed ambition. And here's some signs maybe you've tipped too far into passive contentment. That happens too. You're calling comfort peace, but you know deep down you're playing small. You're avoiding the next step because it feels risky and calling it contentment. I was just having a conversation with a friend about this yesterday, unsolicited coaching that I was giving her, waiting for peace. And I'm like, but are you playing small here? It feels risky. And maybe you're just calling it contentment. You feel a quiet restlessness that you're not honoring. If you have a quiet voice inside right now that's telling you there's more and you're not honoring it, it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. But you're not honoring it, which is a passive form of contentment. Maybe your goals feel like they belong to someone else's life and not yours. So maybe that's your truth right now. And the sweet spot, the alignment piece, is where you feel both settled and stirred. Settled in your identity, but stirred in your vision. At peace with today, but committed to tomorrow. And this is exactly what the aligned success method that I talk about and that I take all of my clients through is designed to help you build. Not just a plan for your goals, but a foundation for who you are as you pursue them. Because strategy without identity is just a to-do list. Strategy without identity is just a to-do list. But identity rooted strategy, that's a life. That's sustainable. That's aligned success. Quick pause. If you've been listening and you're ready to stop performing your life and start leading it, if you know you're ready to feel better now, not later, and you're ready for support that actually creates sustainable transformation, I have private one-on-one coaching spots open. And inside this coaching, in Illuminate You coaching, we don't guess. We use your unique personality blueprint built from the science-backed personality and performance tool called the ProScan, the one you've heard me talk about here in the podcast. This is used so that every decision, every boundary, every shift is designed specifically around your wiring, not someone else's. This is my aligned success method. It's not hacks. It's not try harder. It's not mindset glitter. It's a real solution. It's rooted in science, strategy, and your unique design. So you can lead your life as the woman you actually are, not the woman others expect you to be. Now is the time. Take the step. Book your clarity call at martinewilliams.com/clarity. All right, back to the episode. So let's bring this all the way home with some practical tools because I want to leave you in this episode with more than just a good feeling or awareness. I believe we have to have awareness. I believe we have to have acceptance of where we are, and then we need to take an action. So I want to leave you with a practice. First, the gratitude vision pairing. Before you plan what's next, acknowledge what is. What is? Where you are right now. This is a simple but powerful habit because every time you sit down to work on your goals, start with 60 seconds of gratitude moment. What's working? What have you built so far? What do you know right now? What do you have right now that your past self prayed for? Then move on to your vision. You'll notice that your ambition feels different when it's launched from gratitude instead of lack, with possibility versus the problem. It's lighter, it's clearer, and it's more you. The second is the motivation check-in. On a regular basis, weekly works as well, but ask yourself, what's driving this right now? Take one of your current goals and pursuits and get honest with the energy behind it. This is really what I've been evaluating over the last 6 months. And when I realized that I've been performing like a machine and disciplined, which I'm so thankful that I am disciplined, but I also have lost desire. I lost desire somewhere along the way. And now I'm fully back into it. And the energy is just amazing that I have right now. So get honest about the energy behind it. Is it driven by fear? Is it driven by comparison? Is it driven by proving? Is it driven by purpose, calling, and genuine excitement? Is it driven by this is what other people are doing, so I should be doing it? What's the motivation? This isn't about judging yourself. It's about calibrating yourself. If you notice fear is driving the bus, you can gently redirect it. If you notice other people's businesses and ideas are driving it, you can gently redirect it. That awareness alone changes everything. To just check in and see what's the energy, what's the motivation behind what I'm doing right now. And then third, your identity anchoring. This is the practice of regularly returning to who you are, not just what you're building. What you do is not who you are. What you do is not who you are. And when you go through the personality blueprint experience and the aligned success method in my coaching, you become so clear on who you are. And there's I am statements that you create that are genuinely based on science on who you are to bring you back to your identity, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of the success, regardless of the challenge. You want to practice regularly returning to who you are. So a few ways you can do this is keep identity statements somewhere visible, the I am statements that I was just talking about. So maybe your I am is I'm a woman who's deeply rooted and beautifully in motion. I am thankful for where I am. Like one of mine is I'm thankful for where I am and I know where I'm going next, or I'm excited about where I'm going next. Find yours. What is an I am statement? I am in demand is another one. I am a powerful coach. Coaching with me is powerful. I am people centric. Like people genuinely connect with me in a very easy way. Like that is me staying connected to who I am. And because remember, purpose isn't what you do, it's what happens in others when you do what you do. And so being rooted in your identity and being able to bring that forward at all times when things feel shaky, when a launch doesn't go as planned, or you're in a hard season, or you're in a comparison spiral, you want to come back to that identity, not the outcomes. Because remember, the outcomes don't define who you are, it's just where you are right now. So maybe ask yourself, who am I when none of this is working? The answer to that question is your real foundation. And if you can't answer that, I'm going to challenge you to ask that question and answer it. Or I'm going to challenge you to get on a free clarity call where we can go through that. If you can't answer who I am when none of this is working, that's an identity problem. That's not a strategy problem. That's not a success problem. That is an identity issue. And we've got to get you back to who you are, regardless of what's going on the outside. That's the real foundation. So once a week, I want you to ask yourself this one question so that you can have the contentment checkpoint. Am I pursuing from fullness or from emptiness? Am I pursuing from abundance or lack? That's it. Just one question. It doesn't require a long journaling session, although I highly recommend that you journal to get it out of your head and on paper. If you want to go deeper, obviously you want to be journaling it. But even a 30-second honest answer to that question will keep you calibrated between contentment and ambition all week long. Am I pursuing this from fullness or from emptiness? Am I pursuing this from excitement and purpose or lack in trying to prove? We have to get really good, friends, at asking questions of ourselves and challenging our thoughts and challenging the stories that we have written in our heads, and not just being a machine, but actually checking in with yourself and your energy and your motivation and your contentment and your ambition. So here's what I want you to walk away with today. You don't have to choose between being driven and being at peace. You don't have to sacrifice contentment to stay ambitious. And you don't have to use restlessness as fuel, because that kind of fuel runs out. It does. You were made to be both grounded and growing, both grateful and goal oriented, both deeply at peace and beautifully in pursuit. That's not a contradiction. That is the woman you were always meant to be. So this week, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge yourself. Practice the and. Pick one area of your life where you've been living in the either or. Maybe it's I'm either a good mom or I'm a successful entrepreneur. Maybe it's I'm either hustling or I'm lazy. Pick one area of your life you've been living in the either or. You're either pushing hard or you're pulling back. And I want you to try the and instead. And I want you to say it out loud. There is power in the spoken word. I am grateful for where I am, and I'm committed to where I'm going next. And then just notice what shifts when you start from that place. You're not behind. You're not too much. You're not too comfortable or too driven. You're a woman in the middle of a meaningful journey. I truly believe that. And it's worth honoring exactly as it is. Being thankful and grateful for where you are now, and also excited about where you're going next. It's not one or the other, it's both. All right, so if this episode resonated with you, if you felt something shift in how you're thinking about contentment and ambition, I want to give you a resource that will help you take this from a mindset shift into an actual practice, or maybe your dreams, you want to spend some more time thinking about your dreams. I want you to grab my Rev Up Your Dreams guide. You can go to martinewilliams.com/guide, or you can go to the show notes. It's free, it's practical, and it's designed to help you to get clear on what you want, where you're going, without losing sight of where you've been. So I want you to go and grab that. The link is, again, right there in the show notes, or you can go to martinewilliams.com/guide. And if you want to talk through some of this and you want to have a clarity call, I'm telling you, like, it's 1 hour, it's completely free. You and I get on a phone call together and we're going to talk about where you are, where you want to go, and maybe where you've been struggling with this idea of both and ambition and contentment. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today. If this episode spoke to you, would you share it? Would you leave a rating, leave a review for the show? It's like one of the best things ever to help me continue my mission. And I know there's someone who else needs to hear this. So share it with her. Post it on your social, share it. And if you're not already, following the show, do that now so you never miss an episode. And until next time, I want you to stay aligned, stay grounded, and keep going. I'm so proud of the woman that you are and the woman that you're becoming. All right, friends, catch you on the next episode. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.